They just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without exception. Please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Hi everyone. I've just seen a very good friends of mine there on the comments. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely. I admire it. Hi everyone, I'm Frank. I admire it. Do you know what I seen you last night? I think it was on Judge Napolitano. I was gonna, but I haven't got an underscore on my iPhone, unfortunately, so I never sent the message in. I was going to just say, that's lovely. That's great. That's to see you, Myra. And Lee Argent, she says, will be late. And I was speaking to DW a few weeks ago. Messaged each other, he messaged me. And it was absolutely wonderful to hear from him. And I asked about you. I asked Lee Argent about you as well, which is, that's smashing. Lovely. Lovely to see you, man. Honestly. Thank you for just even getting in, you know what I mean, and saying hello. Absolutely wonderful. And Callum, Salah is back, Frankie. Yeah, he's back in the squads, which is good, you know. It's good for us all, to be honest. Even in Captain Don Franco reporting for duty, says IBR. I seen you today, didn't I? IBR. I seen you today. With Jamie. Good lad, Jamie. Cracking fella. Really is. And my old mate, Steve Mulholland. Welcome back, Myra Page. There you go. That's wonderful. Thank you, Steve. I've just got to thank. I haven't got a kind of thing, a slogan for my sponsors, Gap Painting Services. But if you ever get them, you know, please, if you're an NHS worker, if you're an elderly couple or living on your own, just get them in. You get a special discount. They do both interior and exterior, and also commercial. That's Gap Painting Services. The sponsors of every podcast that I do. That's lovely, that. Honestly. Can't get over some of yous on here. Myra. Fantastic. That's great. Really good. Made up. Absolutely delighted, Myra. Maybe, yeah, see, you've been missed. How's your favourite Springbok? See how much you've been missed. How much you've been missed. That's brilliant, that. I just think it's lovely that you've made an appearance. You know, after so long, really, I was worried actually because I thought something had happened to you. I just thought something had happened to you. I really did, you know, because living down there in South Africa, and going through them jungles and things, big lions. Only joking. But it's good to see you back. It really is good to see you back. Anyway, tonight, look, you get the likes of lots of people talking about strange things. I was scrolling on Facebook before, and these people, they had a big picture up of Zelensky and saying he deserves a peace prize. Have you ever known the likes? He's had only through him, nearly 2 million Ukrainians dead in a conflict with Russia. Nearly 2 million of them. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous for these people. And, there was comments saying, yeah, sure. And I put that up, I commented, I had to. I said he didn't sign a peace agreement. In April 2022, when he had the chance, and he refused to sign the peace agreement. Since then, there are nearly 2 million Ukrainians dead, which is an absolute disgrace for a so-called leader. And then there was nothing about, I was reading the comment, nothing at all about the corruption either, nothing at all. And I said, he bought a bank. I said, he's bought homes in Florida, Paris, London, Italy. I said, where's he got the money for that and to buy a bank in France? Absolutely ridiculous. And as I forget who said it, he said, no amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot. I forget who said it, actually. I forget who said that. No amount of evidence can persuade an idiot. But I do know that, was it, I forget again, a great quote. I'll tell you who it was Franz Kafka, who says, one idiot is an idiot, 2 idiots are 2 idiots, 10,000 idiots are a political society. Fantastic. I just love, great quotes by great people. And they're always right, the quotes. Always right. I just see someone there. Definitely got an international tonight. Our Romanian friend. Good evening, says Ali Nus, all the way from Romania. Hiya, Ali. Oh, this is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Just seeing it. Johan. Good evening, Frank and legends. Glad you could make it, Myra Page. Isn't that great? Myra said, nice to see you, Johan. Yes, of course. And the IBR says, Myra is probably a lion whisperer Franco. Yeah, because usually... Isn't that great? And Ali saying good evening to everyone. And Myra says, Frank, I'm okay. I twit. Oh, and still in pain. Oh, you don't like anything like that, anyone in pain or sick, We just had one of our Italian ladies just had an operation yesterday, and but she's come out of it. She's home now. But the day before yesterday, she was discharged today, and she's okay. She's good. Ukraine getting another 90 billion to loans it away. IBR, I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. I really cannot believe it. He's been exposed. Yermak being exposed. And where are the other two fled to? Fled to Israel. I don't think, to be honest, with the likes of Zelensky, if he does flee the country, which he will do, if he gets out alive, that is, because of those Azovs, there's no way he can go to America. People will be looking for him, or anywhere else for that matter. The only country that he could get to and feel safe is Israel. Lee Argent. Hey, Lee. That's great. Lee Argent with us. Brilliant. Yeah, look at that. Mighty. Anne's yellow, heart red, person turquoise, wizard wand. I wish someone could wave a wand over me, to be honest, Myra. Get me a little bit better. Hey, Frank, how are you doing, Scout? Lee, I was waiting for to see a neurosurgeon, and things got messed up. And I'm still waiting to see one. And after 3.5 years, I've been waiting to see a neurosurgeon. And the unfortunate thing is, I had to go a couple of weeks ago, but they didn't give me the address, and I left my phone in the house. Couldn't find the address, phoned them up. I said, well, why didn't you put the address on? When I got back home, I had to phone them up. I said, why didn't you put the address on? They said, oh, we thought you knew where it was. I said, no. I said, that, there are two places where you told me to go, or where I go, my doctors and this other place. I said, so I thought it was there. You didn't put your address, because it wasn't in the place where they normally go to, the area. Absolutely ridiculous. That's how I never got to see him. And Johan says, Medvedev called Zelensky the junkie Führer. See, the West don't realise how moderate Putin is. Because of Medvedev, if he was president of the Russian Federation, I'm telling you now, Ukraine will be flattened, and I'm talking about everywhere. It'll be flattened. And they don't realise, because you've got now London, they're wanting Zelensky as the new leader. When this dope Zelensky finally holds elections, which he won't, not while he's still there. And Zelensky, if he's worse, he'll just carry on and carry on. It's ridiculous the way it is. And the IBR says to Myra, get a hot tub, as it will help the healing process. Tell you what, we'll have a GoFundMe for Myra, for the You know, one of those things that you put in the garden and they get all lots of. One of those jacuzzis, a hot tub. And Lee says, Anne's yellow heart red, person turquoise, wizard's wand. Thanks, Myra, to her. I love you people, honest to God. I've really missed a couple of yous. I've just arrived. Me mum was a Scouser, says Archie. Yes, of course she was. You're half a Scouser. And Lee says, Johan, yeah, hey man, good to see ya. Good to see ya. Bella, want to say to Franco and all you chatters, hope all's well. Yes. Yes, Bella. And Toscana is out of hospital as well, Bella. And she had her up and she's okay. Oh, lovely. DW, you know, pity he couldn't make it tonight. He's a great fella, DW. Myra and Lee, you know, DW. Such a lovely fella. Yes, he got your message. When a cow has a pea and dirties in a field, says Archie, what use does it have? Yes. Yes. And Johan says, I'll try to make it next Friday. Well, there you go. There you go. And Bella says, NATO Secretary Mark Rutte, he's another bloody idiot, issued that warning for a potential war with Russia that could occur within the next 5 years. What do you think about that, Franco? Big mistake. Big mistake. NATO are at war now with them. They have been for 4 years. NATO are being defeated every day. Every single day. They're being defeated. And people don't realise that. I'm not saying that, you know, our chatters on here don't know about NATO being involved. And Russia have prisoners, NATO prisoners. That doesn't get exposed. They've got them there. They've got American, they've got British. And there's a British paratrooper killed the other day, and Silly Starmer said, didn't he? Yeah, I sent paratroopers in. What are they doing there? So they're already fighting them. We know that the French are there as well. You know, the Poles are there. You know, they're all there. And they're being defeated left, right, and centre every single day. Every day. Oh, Bella says, Franco, I'm in hospital. Oh, no. Oh, Bella, I'm so sorry. Oh, you will get better, sweetheart. Honestly, you will. Oh, friggin' hell. And I think Marcella is with you, isn't she? She must be. Oh. And I think Ali's asking what happened to you there, Bella. Do you know what, though? You know, when people become ill or whether they have an accident or anything, it's shocking. It really is. Oh, that's love. Be strong, says Ali to Bella. And I'm glad that Toscana is okay, says Bella. Yes, she is. She's smashing. That's lovely. So what do you think of the coalition of the willing? Are they the coalition of the losers? I think so. I think so. Well, I don't think so. I know so. The coalition of the see, when I commented on this particular post, some stupid post, I said the ordinary citizens of Europe are fed up. I said, you've only got to look at Macron, Merz, and Starmer in their countries, their own countries, and the citizens want them out because of what's going on with Russia. Because of what's going on with Russia. It's as simple as that. And what else is going on is this money being held, which they froze, and they want to give to Zelensky, the Russian billions. And everybody has told them not to, simply because it's illegal. It's illegal. The banks have told them, everybody. And yet you've got these bureaucrats in the EU, unelected bureaucrats, by the way. Ursula von der Leyen, Kaya Kallas, a complete and utter idiot. Trying to convince us, you, me, that for an example, about Russia. Russia didn't win the war, she said. What did China do? Little do they know, that combined, both China and Russia, 60 million people died combined. And she's saying, hasn't a clue. And as Sergei Lavrov says, she's not a straight A student of history. In other words, she was being nice and he just took the Michael out of her. Fucking terrible it is. And Johan says, Rutte said that we should be prepared for a war our grandparents faced while he was in Berlin. He seems to forget who fought it. Wasn't it his dad who was an SS officer? You've only got to look at the background of Kaya Kallas even so, because Estonians became SS people during the war, fighting the Russians. And their family came from that. Kaya Kallas. And I think the granddad of Ursula, he was the publisher of the German propaganda machine. He was the publisher. Whatever Goebbels was saying, he was printing. Merz, told you, Merz. His dad or granddad was in the SS. You've got our own British head of the MI6, whose granddad was known as the butcher of Ukraine. You can't make these things up. You can't make these bloody things up. Honestly. Little Ellen Diambi. Evening goal. Bella, hope you're all. Yeah, she'll be okay. It's Toscana. As I mentioned you before. Buonasera, Franco and chatters. Good to tune in. Lovely Toscana. I hope you're recovering well. Home, convalescent home. That'll be nice. Oh. And Bella says, thank you all for your kind words. That's good evening, Frank and chat. Starmer wants an illegal war like that blade. Zionist, all of them. Yes, they're all Zionists, unfortunately. And Ollie says, Putin can't be led. Big, hang on. The big dogs can't lead the big dogs. That's why they want to destroy Russia. I can't lead the big dogs. Can't lead the big dogs. That's why they want to destroy Russia. Yes, Ali. But he's delivering. Well, they deserve, to be honest. Putin is delivering. When we wake up in England, the Russians will have dropped a large amount of excrement upon us. Wakey says that. No, they won't. It's Neil, my old mate Neil. Tommy DeSimo. Liverpool born inspired Joe Pesci's character in Goodfellas. Oh, Tommy DeSimone. Yeah, I know that's a couple of Liverpool lads were over in Chicago with Al Capone. His proper pronunciation, Alphonse Capone. And they were his bodyguards. 2 Liverpool lads. And Ali says to Bella, once an Orthodox priest told me, it's normal to feel pain. We are humans, not robots. Yes. Look, what I look at is this and view is that the West, and I'm not talking about Trump here, because to be honest, Trump can stop all this like that. He's only got to say to all these dopes in the West and to Zelensky. And I don't know why he's giving him, I think it's $300 million over the next 2 years or something stupid like that. He should give them nothing and pull away all the intel, everything. And then NATO would be, I've got to use the word, fucked. He would be. They wouldn't be able to do anything. Well, they can't do anything now, NATO. As I said, they're getting beat every single day. There's no Ukrainians left. There's none. They're dragging them off the streets. They're dragging old fellas, same age as me, off the streets to fight. They're dragging disabled off as well. I was listening to a Ukrainian prisoner, and he said in my company, he said there was about 4 4 or 5 of them who were disabled, just dragged off the streets. So, this is what's going on. And the West are allowing it. And to be honest about this, these frozen assets, the Russian money, I think half of it's gone, and they're trying to cover it up. That's in my opinion. That's why they're so desperate to get their hands on it, because it's not there. Or, most of it's not there. They've already been dipping in. And the likes of the EU, not all of them. I'm talking about the leaders, the likes of that Carlyle from Estonia. Now, the money, as you know, is being laundered in Ukraine, you know that. And yet, where's it given out to? It's getting then sent to be shared out to Estonia. You can't make these things up. You just cannot make these things up. And every time you see Zelensky talking on the TV, he's reading from a script. He's reading from a script. I don't think, the leaders, the likes of Merz, the likes of von der Leyen, Kaja Kallas, Macron, Starmer, they've got no shame. They know that people are ordinary citizens like ourselves are totally against them. Does that look like a halo on the top of my head? Hey. You see what I mean? They've got no shame. And they go out in public and start waving. It's pathetic. Really is pathetic. But I think the likes of Viktor Orban and Fico of Slovakia and that fella from, I don't know his name, unfortunately, from the Czech Republic, should just go, we've had enough of you. And Belgium, they're being paged with, if they don't hand the money over, with sanctions. And von der Leyen, she's always saying, isn't she, the democracy? Where's the democracy in the EU? She cancelled elections in Romania. She cancelled them because this fella was going to win, Georgescu. Then another fella was going to win, Simeone. And she cancelled them. And this fella, who was so far behind in the opinion polls, so far, he ended up winning. How? And she talks about democracy, free democracy. Yeah, you can't get your head around what this woman says. And Kaja Kallas, what she says. It's pathetic. It really is pathetic. And this is what we've got to go through. Listening to the lies, the misinformation, disinformation, propaganda. Pathetic. And Toscana says, Di Simeone was my mum's maiden name. She gangster. I'm only joking. Oh. And the other one says, have you seen the blatant theft of I was just going to talk about that. Oil in the international waters, so it wasn't about narco-terrorists. It was oil, wasn't it? Or wasn't it, Donald? No, see what it is. They've got the biggest, largest oil deposit, more so than Saudi. Not only that, but they have gold mines and emerald mines. That's what it's all about. It's resources. That's what it's all about. Resources. And the likes of Venezuela, Maduro, come on. We know that he's not a drug cartel, boss of a drug cartel. And this is what they're like, the Americans. It's an absolute disgrace what they do, what they get up to. And we know that the CIA are in there for a covert operation. We know that. I think it's shocking to put a phony woman in as well, Mikado. Did you see? She was living there and going out on social media, doing a podcast saying, get rid of this fella, Maduro. And he just left her alone, let carry on. And then, all the propaganda, she's in Norway now, all the propaganda that she more or less has escaped from Venezuela. She went right across Venezuela to get to a port and escaped on a little boat. Absolutely pathetic. And yet that woman was asking the Americans to go and bomb her own citizens, the Venezuelans. And she talks about democracy, yet she was schooled by, you know who she was schooled by, don't you? Besides the CIA. Mossad. Schooled for years. And this is what they want. And it all stems to the little lads in the Middle East, that smallest country in the Middle East. And I'm not talking about Palestine. And they just want to see Latin America ruled by them. That's why they want air there. That's why they want air there. The same as that Mali of Argentina. Now you've got Honduras, being threatened more or less, bullied by Trump. It's shocking. It really is what the Americans do. It really is, but they can't take on. Look, I'll say this now. If America could take on Russia, they would have done. They would have just, the way the propaganda was coming out, for a couple of years, 3 years or so, whatever it was, saying that they're weak. They've got no arms. They're running out of arms. Even only a few weeks ago, I think it was a Kellogg saying that they're taking out tanks from out of mothballs, out of museums to go and fight in Ukraine. And that's propaganda. That's just lies, that, as you know. And yet, they've got the most sophisticated weapons, Russia. The most sophisticated. And the Americans know this. Because if they were to take a notice of Kellogg and his lies, and a few others as well, if they were to take a notice of them, I'm telling you now, they would have gone right in if Russia was weak and had no arms. They would have gone right in and crushed them. Oh, it's right to crush them, but they know better. America, they can't even defeat the Houthis. Fellas with sandals on and a rifle on the back. going on a bike to fight a war. You can't even defeat them. And Venezuela is vast. The land mass is unbelievable. So yeah, it's become a joke, hasn't it? Now, Pirates of the Caribbean. And Ali says, for me, there's only one thing: leaders of this world. France, France, stop. I can't understand that. France Masons, is that leads everything. They dictate everything. What's happening? I saw an interview with Soros made in time by multiple interviews. He said it. Oh, right, okay. Soros is a bad dude. He really is. Everybody wonder who elected Ursula Caesar. They did. Illuminati, Rome, Club, etc. It's the WEF. They've thrown them in there. The World's Economic Forum. They want to rule all the economy around the world, but they can't do it with Russia and China. That's what I meant to say before. If I was the likes of Fico of Slovakia, this new fella from the Czech Republic, and Viktor Orban, I'd just join BRICS. I'd just pull out, join BRICS. That's what I'd do. Because they're being sanctioned left, right and centre. And it's shocking what they do. You know, this is all democracy. If you go against what the EU is saying, you get sanctioned. And you don't get the money that you deserve. They hold it back. Frank, ain't America still paying England's tax from 1812? Correct me, please. Well, we only stopped paying the Americans for the First World War and the Second World War in 1997. No, they're not paying taxes to us. They don't pay anything to us. We pay them. Actually, we pay them. As I said, we just paid off a debt to them in 1997, stroke 8, for the 2 world wars. America don't give you anything. They want paying for everything. They were saying that they were helping us, especially in the Second World War, by sending over the convoys, with weapons and food, which is great, but they wanted paying for it. And we've just finished paying. Well, under that other war criminal, Blair, 1997. And as you say, as far as I'm aware, England owns America. No, that all stopped in 1776. I tell you what, which you might know of. We all know about the White House. Everyone knows about the White House. And it was in 1812 that the British burnt the White House down. And it was all blackened. So they painted it, after the British went, they painted it white, hence the White House. And Myra, USA has become a schoolyard. Myra, they're just bullies. They bully everybody. If they see a weakness in something, they will bully. See, when you were mentioned about Venezuela, what I meant to say too was that Venezuela is not the only country that they want to go into. It's also Colombia, Honduras, as I mentioned, Cuba. They want to go into there because they're making excuses that they're all drug cartels and it's going into America. America, oh, come on, have you seen America the way it is? You know, the people there, drug abusers, why do these people go on drugs? Because there's nothing better than, there's nothing for them in America. And yet they blame everybody else. And the black economy is all this money from the drug cartels. They let it pile up, millions, and then they go in, stop it. Where does that money go? But the CIA, get hold of. Where does that money go? Millions and millions of dollars. You see it all piled up. You see footage of it. Where does it go? It goes to pay. It's a black economy. It was just like going back to the 20s and the prohibition. All the booze and everything else was coming in. Everything was coming in. That's why you had the speakeasies, and there was still lots of booze coming in, especially from Scotland with tankers loads of scotch coming through Canada. But they were showing footage of, they had to show it, of these FBI, going in and smashing up barrels of, for the cinema. Saying, oh, look what they're doing, they're going in for these bootleggers. They were allowing the bootleggers to go and pick up because they really couldn't afford not to have. The way it went, I'll tell you what it went. Everything with prohibition stopped. And you're talking about farms with the hops that make beer and all kinds of booze. You had even, believe it or not, this sounds mad, but it's true. The likes of lumberjacks chopping down trees because there was no wood to make crates, doors, you name it, everything, bars, making bars. Bars were made out of wood. Everything wood. All this prohibition. Entertainers came out of work. Glass, even the glass firms, they were coming out of work, that made bottles and glasses and this was all through prohibition. Printers, papers. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was a terrible knock-on effect. Terrible knock-on effect. Cleaners, that cleaned these places. They were all out of work. So they had to do something. So they allowed it. Then it became a black economy to keep America going. And it's just like, the same. And everywhere else, there's like little black economies. But the biggest black economy in America today is the drug cartels. That's why they want to go in and take all resources. They want to be the number one, but they're not no more. And it's been proved. Who's taken over economically is China and their goods. But you still have the propaganda against China. You have the axis, don't you? North Korea, Iran, Russia and China. It's been going on for years. You only got to look at films. I'll go back to say the likes of James Bond from Russia with Love. James Bond's always been fighting the Russians. You go to the modern day and John Wick, he's fighting the Russian mafia in America. So everything Russian is bad. Everything. Who owns the media? Fellas with hats on, that just above my head, that size. That's who own the media, everything they own. So all the propaganda is against the likes of Russia, the likes of China, everything. Iran. To me, Iran's done nothing. They haven't gone and invaded anywhere. Let me know if they've invaded anywhere. Like Kaya Kala says that they have. Where? Russia has invaded 100 countries. Just you there saying that. You see, they must think that you and I are thick. And we're not thick. We're far from being thick. So you're right there, Myra, about the bully. Libers, I love that. The Libers. Yes, membership has dropped by 200,000 since Starmer took over, and his current clown government will use a war with Russia to keep them in power by postponing an election. It's just like Zelensky. He stopped the elections, didn't he, when he pulled in that martial law? But Trump said, no, you can have one. You better have an election. And Lisa is well spoken, Myra. Yes. The Achi. At peasant level, we are all fed up with, dude, I've been to my local farm and got some shin beef. Got it near Mickey Channon's old family farm. I think I'm glad you go to the farm, to be honest, actually. Johan, there's a quote on social media. If you ever feel useless, just remember the US Army spent 20 years in Afghanistan to replace the Taliban with the Taliban. Forever wars is their business. It is their business model. And I totally agree with you. Because you've only got to look at the military complexes and what the money that they're in. And you've only got to look at the corruption within the Senate and especially Congress being bribed. The congressmen. It's shocking. So a war favors everybody in America. And what did Trump say? He said, well, we're giving no more arms to Ukraine. So if you want to give them arms, you can buy them off us. This is to the West. This is to Europe. So Europe are buying them. Europe's got no money. Europe has no money, as you know. If a war will start, Russia will never fight America. They never fought. They always share everything. But if a world will start, world war, you're saying, yeah, Europe will be out of the China is with Russia, Africa as well. Yeah, this is, yes, you're right about Africa being with being with Russia and China, because China went into Africa and was building railways and roads and everything for them. And the Americans went out, well, we're being outdone here, because they were just there taking the resources, or wanting to take the resources, but doing nothing else. Oh, Dennis, I'm glad I'm out the Navy and not having to serve under these corrupt clowns, says Dennis. Now, Dennis is all the way, good friend of mine, by the way, all the way from Tampa. And the only thing he fights today is alligators. He says good morning and good evening to them when he goes out. So the alligators are his enemy. Fantastic. Great to see you. Great to see you, Dennis. Honestly, mate. And Ali news to Myra. Always the big fish eat the small one. Yes. And Myra agrees. And actually thanking me. What for? Actually, keep going to farm. Actually, get me a leg of lamb and send it up to me. I'll be very appreciative. Franco, says the lovely Bella. I got to go to the doctor. Just needs a rest. Good night, all. You lovely chat family. Sweet dreams to you. Bella. Oh, Bella, have a good night, and I might see it on the film and TV review tomorrow if you're there. Up 10:30. Good night, sweetheart. Off to play with the Gators. Have a great weekend. Dennis is in a band called the Incurables, by the way. And he always comes over to Liverpool once a year to play at the Cavern. The very famous Cavern. And he comes over with his band, the Incurables. But he tours all over America as well. Great lad. Great lad. And Ali didn't. Frank, in an interview, Soros was asked if he bankrupt the Bank of England. He said yes. But he would, wouldn't he? Soros. And Dennis says, my grandpa told me how during the Prohibition you could see the boats crossing the Detroit River from Windsor, Canada, by the lights of the Canadian Club Whiskey Distillery. Yeah, because even the Scots, the distilleries in Scotland, they were delighted. They couldn't get enough. They couldn't make enough whiskey for them. Dennis. So your granddad's right, he must have seen him coming over. Must have done. But I was allowed. But the police, they were told when to go after like a certain little brewery, where he made illicit beer. That was all. Because even, I know your granddad will be gone now, but if you'd have asked him, was there any breweries open? I mean, big breweries. Yes, they were. And they were telling people that they were distilling water. Would you believe? They were making everything. As I said, it was a black economy, just like the drugs are today. It's just nuts. Greetings from Tampa, Florida, says Dennis to the lovely Myra. Myra says, greetings from, yes, Yeah, Joburg, Johannesburg. Frank England's filled with drug cartels. It's all happening. Oh my God. Of course. Of course. Of course. This fucking thing again. The under my nose, it just gets hit every time I come in here. I wonder if it's got something to do with this. It's shocking. It's make me so itchy. And Myra says to Dennis, it's a small city. A small city called PE. And Dennis says, Ian Fleming and they were, and Christopher Lee, believe it or not, was I do the history of literature, and me and my great friends Anthony Brown and Christopher Lee. He was more or less, James Bond was more or less based on him because he used to go behind enemy lines, Christopher Lee. I don't think anybody realises that. And Ian Fleming was also in intelligence. During the Second World War, Christopher Lee used to go behind enemy lines. Think about it. He was an incredible, very brave man as well. Was Christopher Lee. And nothing's hardly ever mentioned about him. And I would guess who his ancestors were the Borgias in Italy. The Borgias. Lucretia Borgia. Incredible. Polo is correct. Hey Frank, hey Polo. You're spot on about media ownership control. Says yes, of course, they own everything. Everything they own. Everything. Got you, Myra. Got her on. Ciao. Dennis. Even they own the alligators where Dennis Paparak lives. And that's a good point. Africa will come of Xi Jinping. Well, of course they will. And many other countries. Well, that's you've got the Polar South now. Not the Polar North. The Polar North's finished. And because of this proxy war, it's finished them. You'll have the de-dollarization. And that's slowly, as they say, catch ye monkey. That's what it's all about. And Ali Tamira, how is it in South Africa? Is there a racial war there? I keep hearing this. To be honest, Ali, no matter what country you're in, you'll always have racism. There's a lot of misinformation. We have a crime problem, a problem of 30 million illegals. Now, you wouldn't think that, would you? You think it's just Europe, and yet Myra's just informed us that's the same with 30 million illegals. Think about that. Think about that. Now, you know, there's two countries, the likes of Romania with Ali Noose and Myra's lovely South Africa. And there's problems there. were illegals. Ali Danus, there's problem, a massive problem with the elections there going back to last May when they were cancelled by the EU. And the EU talk about democracy, yet they wouldn't allow any democracy. 2 elections, by the way, one after the other, until he got this other fella in, who favoured Ukraine and favoured the narrative of the EU. So you think about that, the corruption. And von der Leyen goes on about the wonderful experience of democracy in Ukraine. What democracy? All the Ukrainian opposition are in jail. The Christian Orthodox, Russian Orthodox churches were destroyed. Priests imprisoned. Parishioners, if they spoke out, were beaten and imprisoned. That's shocking. And there's von der Leyen and the rest of them, of these WEF people in power and in Brussels, saying, let's free Ukraine. Let's free Ukraine. And give them democracy. Fucking hell. The Argents. Pearson turquoise wizards want. Did you see the documentary? Says Polo is correct. Nope. Not 8 or MI5. Their members use fake passports without any consult. Of course. Any incels use fake everything, fake texts, everything. People just disappear, never to be seen again because of these people. Crazy. I had a friend from South Africa. He made the pilot academy for jets. He told me that they didn't hire him because he was white. Go away. Romanian churches in Ukraine are Romanian Orthodox churches. That land was out, I know, and this is why the likes of Poland and Romania, once this war's over, I reckon they'll go in and just take their land, because Ukraine will be a rump steak, but they have to take Odessa first, Russia. And I think they will, because you're getting ships, tankers being sabotaged with drones. And they're not Russian. So I think Russia will definitely go into Odessa, take it, and close off the Black Sea. And once the Black Sea is closed off to Ukraine, that'll be the Black Sea closed off to NATO. NATO's finished anyway. NATO's finished. And that's it. That's it. All as I do, I balance things out. People have been called a Putin puppet, for God's sake. I'm just an ordinary historian. And if you're an ordinary historian like I am, and you look at, what's gone on throughout history, You just try and balance it in modern day. Modern day. And it's shocking simply because, as I mentioned, that Callas before, talking about Russia done nothing, but just invaded 100 countries. China done nothing in the Second World. Oh, you can't make these things up. The Japanese, for 11 years, from 1930 right up to 40, 41, killed 30 million Chinese, Japan. 30 million. So she knows nothing about that. She knows definitely nothing about Russian history, or any history for that matter. She just hates Russia. She's a Russophobe. A Russophobe. Like von der Leyen. Like Starmer. But Starmer's a puppet. He's just given a script to read and to obey. Just obey the script. This is what you have to do. This is what you have to say. Starmer. Macron. What can you say about him? What can you say about that man? Is he a complete idiot? No, he isn't. Do you reckon he's corrupt? He's an ex-banker, put it that way. You had mates who work for BlackRock. Now, it's only come out that BlackRock might go into Ukraine to build it up. You've got this peace plan. Russia won't accept it because Zaporozhye and the nuclear power plants, they control it, Russia, but it's in the Russian Federation now. And one of the points of the peace plan was for Russia to give up the power plant. They're not going to do that. Russia, there's no way. It's the Russian Federation, so it's their territory now. And this is why I really believe that Ukraine will become a rump state when Russia finally take Odessa. And the agent's just making tea. Can I have a cup, please? Wish they could make tea. I wish there was someone here to make a cup of tea for me. And Ali says, there is a group of puppets, Macron, Starmer, Merz, Ursula, Maloney. Maloney, not so much, because she's like more or less turned now. She's turning. Georgia Maloney. My president and for many others, from many others countries, formed the USA, the EU. They all make the sorest wishes and only care about one thing, money. Yeah, of course. They all do. But it's not for the good of the economy. It's good for themselves. It's only for the good of themselves. Because they know they are destroying the European economy. Different countries, that is. How come no one is arrested, sir? It's just like no one's arrested Netanyahu. No one's arrested Blair. No one has arrested anybody because these people are the elite. The well-protected. Polo, the well-protected. It's shocking. With the protection that these people get. look, there are arrest warrants out for Netanyahu, Mikalovsky. There are arrest warrants. So we won't go into those countries. Don't you think that Pete Hesketh should be arrested now for the murder of two lads in the water clinging onto a little, life raft? And he said, get rid of them. Do you think he should be up for murder? Because it's not in their constitution. They make things up as they go along, the Americans. And he gave the order to get rid of them, him, Hesketh, the defense secretary. But he's not the defense secretary because he gave himself another title that the Secretary of War. Secretary of War. Think about it. So once he said that, they know that wars are coming. They know that wars are coming. Whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's in the Arctic, because of the resources there. And who's there? Russia. In their eyes, doesn't matter what we did or how smart we are. We are just pawns on the chess table. Yes, good shout. We are. We don't care to them. I forget who said, was it Mark Twain? Said, the rich need an abundance of the poor. An abundance of the poor to do their fights. The ones who need to arrest Soros and others from Freemasonry. I gave a couple of talks for those people, and I've even got a photograph on my phone. And they wanted me, I sat in the chair, they said, yeah, I'll sit there, we'll take a photograph. Okay. But these fellas sitting next to me, they wanted me to join. I said, no. Become a Mason? I said, no, thank you. They created a huge system worldwide in many years. To arrest them, you need to change everything. You can't arrest them. You can't arrest them. Ali's really having a go tonight. And that's why they want Russia and China out, because they feel those two countries can change the system. Of course they will. You've only got to change the dollar. That could ruin them, the dollar. Then it becomes a multipolar world. See, everything isn't conducive to them, these people. And the only way to get the best out of everything is to have a war. I knew you were a mob, Franco Capo. Am I the Capo di Tutti Capi? Yeah. And Polo says, you're right, Frank. Soros, Netanyahu, Blair are all evil. Our country has been stripped of assets, coal street factories. We have sod all. Well, as I said as well, it's only what Myra said about a country which you never heard of with 30 million illegals. And you never heard of that because it doesn't apply to Europe, if you know what I mean. What's going on in South Africa. But a lot goes on in well, not just South Africa, but all the different countries. Nevertheless, you've got Europe, and Trump is saying that Europe is going down the pan simply because of all the illegals. And he's right there. I don't agree with Trump and what he says and what he does, but he was right about Europe. He says you've got to get your own act in order. Put that in order before you start moaning at us, America. There's everything about damn money, but let's not forget, money doesn't fall from the sky. They are made at machines. Of course they are. Of course. And it's laundered through machines as well, Ali. And at least says, meet the new boss, same as the old boss, basic. Yeah. But I tell you what I don't understand as well, Lee, is the likes of Wickoff and Kushner being diplomats trying to get a peace program sorted with Russia over Ukraine. They're not diplomats. They sell houses, these fellas. How can they be diplomats? It's shocking what Trump is doing. You know, Rubio, he's an absolute clown, him. He just wants Cuba off the face of the earth. He just wants Cuba off the face of the earth because his parents are Cuban. Rubio. So that's why Trump won't send them. What happened there? The unfair law. Even a Frankie in chat. It was all in for me. Oh, you know. Good to see you, mate. Really. And Myra actually says, Frank, what got 1,000 pastors visit Israel by request of the Israeli government? They were lectured and brainwashed with propaganda, so they can do the same flock for support of Israel. Yes. Yeah. You see, you have Zionist Christians as well. You've got that fella who's just bought TikTok. And you have influencers. It's just ridiculous. On TikTok, saying how great Israel is and how bad, everybody else is. And how good Netanyahu is. And the idea, if you go on Facebook, what you see a lot of this girl, this Gal Gadot, who plays Wonder Woman. And people are saying she's not even a good actress yet. She was on active service in the Lebanon. Think about it, active service. Because she was an IDF soldier. And her name was Greenstein. Gal Gadot, Greenstein. So they're trying to portray him, as a wonderful actress who is very pretty, and she's great as Wonder Woman and whatever. They painted a great picture of her. And well, obviously, you know why. Because of her connections with the IDF and being in the military and being on active service in the Lebanon where people were being killed. Think about that. Well, yeah, the banks, they own the machines, and we know who own the banks. Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest of all, I reckon, besides Caxton, who invented the printing press, and the likes of the fella who we never heard of, invented the wheel. These people are the greatest. I mean, Nikola Tesla was the greatest of them all by getting electricity to go in one. And he wanted to give the world free electricity. And it was J.P. Morgan, one of the biggest banks in the world today, J.P. Morgan. And Edison. My daughter sent me a message. I've got us there. She brought. I bought a couple of pair of jeans I bought and a pair of cords, and my legs have shrunk. So I said they're too small. The legs are too long. I'm sorry. And she said, I'll take them back for you, Dad. And she just texted me saying, I've sorted them. So I'm made up with that. Absolutely delighted. I've just got to send. I'm awfully sorry about this. Sorry about that. I had to. Thank you. So you're right there, Ali. They own, the banks own, but as it's mentioned about Nikola Tesla, and J.P. Morgan, they all dived on him, including Edison. They said, no, we've got to make money on this. And Nikola Tesla ended up penniless in a little apartment in New York. Wonderful man, great inventor, greatest in my opinion. As I said, besides the fella who invented the wheel. Because you can't go without electricity today. Can you? So all these people own everything. See these people here? They wear these things here. Little hats. Frankie says to Polo, should we sell Salah cash now to the Saudi or no? I'll tell you tomorrow. I'm not doing it now because I could go off on a tangent. Sorry, mate. And Johan says, evangelical Christians in America have a weird obsession with Israel. Yes, and as I said, the Zionists. The Zionists. And did you notice Zelensky went to see the Pope the other day? He went to see the Pope. When the Pope was elected, I said there's something phony there. Because what nationality is he? He's an American. He's an American. The Popington. Sorry about my nose there again. It's fucking terrible. So irritating. So you're right there, Johan, about these Christians and the Zionists. Now I'm wondering what this Pope is. And I know Pope Francis met Zelensky. But I'm just wondering about this Pope Leo fella. And I said something phony there when he was elected. And the Anfield Roar. The alley news to the Anfield. Hello, Nunes supporter. Good evening. Can't make our chatters up, can you? Franco, in time, maybe you will create a group on an app where we can chat. My brother Leo from Leo's Goal. Oh, is that your brother? No, it's not your brother, is it? Made one, if you will, once, and everybody else. Yeah, I'll put it over to the lads. I'm actually doing a football show next Thursday, but it'll be like 2, 1 in the afternoon, which I'm organising at 1 o'clock Thursday afternoon. So look out for that. And he actually says everything is a racket. Everything is a racket. And Myra, the radar is a great invention, yes. Yes, but you've got to look at what makes the radar go. That's all that I'm saying. It's like he hardly ever gets mentioned, albeit he does get mentioned, but for different reasons. And that's Galileo and what he invented. And what he invented is what I'm wearing. Glasses. The telescope. Incredible. these wonderful inventors. There was a fellow, Liverpool fellow, Italian. Well, his parents were Italian. And he invented the grid that all lights go on, around cities, and switches in different rooms. He invented that. Incredible. Paolo Ferranti. Incredible. So why, if money can make up machines, we need to pay taxes and be poor? Yeah, of course. That's what it's all about. The poor are the slaves of these people, because only like that they can easily manipulate us. People for money can do everything, especially people with money, can do everything, especially if they are poor. Yep. Johan says the Snow White film Gal Greenstein was in flopped, and she said it was because of anti-Semitic. Yeah, that was shocking. That. See what I mean? They can get up things. How deluded do you have to be to utter those words today? Everything has a label on you. I was called a racist, me. Little old me. You're a racist, you. And why I was called a racist is because, as you know, I'm a historian. And I had to do a paper, part of the paper on the slave trade. And I went through 4 years, and I studied from 1700 to 1807 about the slave trade. Every ship that came in, every captain. And it was a myth, an urban myth, that slaves came into Liverpool. Not one ship. And when I've been not arguing, people have said, oh, he says, there's low. I said, okay, name the ship. Name the decade. Give me the decade on the ship. Because I know. Because of every ship that came in, not one. They came in with the goods from the slave trade when they were trading. But you just think that it's all Liverpool thing. It wasn't. It was around the country. Liverpool was known as the port of 1,000 ships, and yet there was 116 merchants who owns a ship about the slave trade. So out of that 1,000 ships, 116 belong to the slave trade. And the amount of goods that came in from the slave trade was 24%. The rest of the 76% had nothing to do with trade coming into Liverpool. Had nothing at all to do with the slave trade. So you see the way it is. Do you see how things can be spun and whatever? So you see how these labels can be given easily if you just say a word. Maritally urgent, I hope the judge fixed the problem. What judge is that? Have I missed out on something? I'm awfully sorry if I have. And Ali says, yeah, Frank, I know JP Morgan was the same rat like Soros. But there is a hell for you. Sure, we'll meet them both down there. Mate, are you saying I'll meet them? I'm only joking. I've missed something with you and Myra. I'm sorry. Must have missed. And he actually says Trump's uncle raised a Tesla apartment. It's a big club, Frank. And we ain't in it. Oh, of course, yeah. See, people make money by manipulation. They will manipulate you to get something out of you. And the scams today is incredible. If you fall for them. Johan, this new generation, always obsessed with their phones. Like, thanks very much. I have to have it. But, you know, me daughter, at least she's got me made up of what she's got me, to be honest. Changed them. 2 pairs of trousers. And Paul says, Israel has so much control. They run it, of course. They run us. They run us. You've got friends of Israel, haven't you, in Parliament? Polo. And the poll says Galileo, Pisa, yeah. Well, they just called him Galileo, didn't they? I'll tell you how he made glasses. When he was doing his telescope, and there was I don't know whether he was a neighbour or a relative. I'm not quite so sure. And he was always looking at he's always just talking to him. He said, "Well, what are you doing now?" And he couldn't see anything. Say like if you were reading like me today. No, I've got my distant glasses on. It's difficult reading, unfortunately, because my reading glasses, they hurt my nose, They hurt my nose. But anyway, this fella couldn't read, or whatever it was. I don't know whether he was a relative or a neighbour or something. And he got this glass, because he was doing things with glass, and he got it, and he polished it right down, and he gave him a night test. He said, look, just put them there and see if you can. And he said, no, they're a bit blurry, so it went down and fair until they were fine. And he said, I can see, I can read. Well, not read, like whatever he was looking. I can see. Why am I doing that? Oh, God, blimey. But that's what he did, and that's how he... and he put wire around them so he could hang them. Was it wire? Yeah, not to hang them on his nose. Like to... you see them in old films, you see these people walking around, they got a little light like glass thing, they hold them up. And that's what he did. Galileo. Smashing. Love it. No, if there's a hell for sure, we will meet them down there. I wanted to say, if we will go down there as well. Yeah, Don't want to be talking about heaven and hell yet. Glad to see some countries are growing a spine and boycotting the Eurovision because of his. Why are they in it? They're not even in Europe. Why are they in the Champions League? They're not in Europe. I've always said that for years. Because they run it. They run it. I think it's been great tonight, people. I'm made up to see Myra and Lee Argent. Really, I'm sorry if I was going off on a tangent. But that's the way it is, you see. But I'm glad that I do go off on a tangent because, you could be saying the same thing, everything's the same. But have you noticed it's all about resources and money? Everything. And people who run it. People who run it. People run you and me. Frank, what area would you like to go to visit? You're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you now. Roman era, building of pyramids, Italy, pre-Columbus America. Polo, I wanted to be an archaeologist and I did archaeology in my first year. And I always wanted to be, but I wanted to do Roman archaeology. And what happens is these posh people, when I was at uni, said, we're taking a year out. So I decided to take a year out, and my family said, what for? It's off land going. And I went, but I didn't, I took 12 out. And I went back like Jack the Lad, thought that I could just carry on being an archaeologist, but unfortunately, they weren't doing the one I wanted to do, and they said, well, I had to sit a paper to see if I could still read and write. I said, Dad, he said, okay. We're doing the jungles of Peru, the Mayans and the Incas. And I said, I don't want to do that. They said, and Egyptology. I said, I don't want to do the pyramids. I just want to do the Romans. They said, we're not doing it. Cut a long story short, I was leaving, I was just going back home, so God knows what I would have ended up like, until I seen an old professor who said to me, listen, I want you to meet someone, because I explained what had happened, and I came back to with this lecturer, female, double faced at Oxford. And she said, you can leave, because she did the Roman Empire. She said, the first term, it's called semester today, was only terms when I was at uni. She said, you can leave come Christmas, because they always start at university in September till the Christmas. She said, if you don't like it. So I said, yeah, okay. She persuaded me. So I went and I became an historian with the Roman Empire because I enjoyed it. So the Roman era is I'm half Italian and I'm biased. I hope that's short for you, Polo. Myra says, Frank, Judge Napolitano and Daniel Davis deep dive have the same producer on. Go away. Well, I watched. Was it Daniel Davis that I was senior on then, or Judge Knapp? Well, it must have been one of them two, because I just watched them. I try to catch Redacted as well. But I watch the Duran, but I don't watch it. Like, what I watch is Alex Christoforou, you know, when he's doing his little walkabouts. Let's have some news. That's what I watched. But Judge Knapp, yes. And Daniel Davis, Colonel Daniel Davis. To explain the problem to the producer, I hope he fixes it. Ah, right, okay. So he has a problem. Funny enough, yeah. Second that, says the Lee Argent. I think it'll be great, though. I'm not being funny. It's only what one of them suggested, you know, like have a chat. If anyone wanted a chat, I'd organise that on here. I'll read it out. I'll even have someone on if you want. You know, through StreamYard. That's what we use. And chat. Just chat about anything. You know, the troubles today. What'll happen now with... I'm sorry for all this. It's just that my nose is so itchy. You know, just around here. Oh, it's shocking. That's why you see me keep doing this, you know. You know what's happening in Venezuela. Did you notice, though, and I never thought anything about this, when Trump first came in, you know what he said? I'm renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. Did you notice that? Excuse me. And that's why he's wanted to take everything. Venezuela, the Gulf of America, so all that could be taken by America. He's losing an empire. Well, he isn't. The Americans are. And they're losing an empire. They're trying to build one up. Again, even Japan have gone against them, you know. I don't know whether you're aware of that. Japan have gone against America. And Johan says, this is my video update from Athens, Greece. What is? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you where he lives. No, I won't. I know where he lives. Just in case. But yeah, he's great, Alex. He's great. And Paulo says, question, do you have? Yes. Yes. Yes, Paulo. Yeah. I always remember meeting a fellow I used to go to school with. And I hadn't seen him in 30 years. And he said, I believe you're a doctor. I went, yeah. And he was going to the gym. And he went, he said, it's great. I said, it's no big deal, to be honest. And he went, listen, he had a little bag and he put it down. He said, I've got a pain in my shoulder. I said, no, don't forget, I hadn't seen this fella for 30 years. And I said, I'm not a medical doctor, I'm sorry. And he just looked at me like, picked his bag up and walked away. And I went, I'll see you again in another 30 years, eh? It's just a pain here. Oh, dear. And Alex is in a different city every week. Yeah, he is. He is. Where was he? Oh, I forget. It was in the winter no, it wasn't even in the winter. And he was in Serbia somewhere. Was it Belgrade? I forget where he was, and it was freezing and pelting down. And I said to him, why is he there? He can go to warmer climes. He's only got to stay in Greece, hasn't he, really, in Athens or Cyprus. I would. Oh, because, you do get rain there now because it's winter, but at least it's mild. Rather than walking around with a red nose and chattering. The Asians, a failing empire with nuclear weapons is not good for, yes, the world. Yes, of course, Lee. See, look, it's what I said before. If America knew that Russia was very weak, they would have been in there. But they know that they're very, very, very strong. Don't forget that the likes of Ukraine, who built up this big army, had the biggest army in Europe. And they thought that they could take on Russia. For some reason, they don't know the Russian history. They haven't a clue. I know when Napoleon, he came out from Moscow, but he went in. He wanted to go in the, I think it was the April, into Russia, Napoleon. And something happened or whatever, but he went into, I think, 2 months later. And that 2 months was crucial. I've gone all blurry, haven't I? It was crucial, that 2 months, for his retreat. And people just think that he just got there and said, oh, come on, let's go. He wasn't, because he was waiting for the Tsar to have a peace treaty, just like Zelensky. But he never got it because the Tsar was in St. Petersburg. And he was just sitting there, waiting. But he waited too long. So with that, like nearly a month or so, he was waiting. So with that month, combines with the month that the months that he waited to go into Russia, he was told to leave by Ney, N-E-Y, one of his great soldiers. He said, come on, let's go. That was in the September. And August, September, he said, let's leave Moscow. He says, oh, we'll hit bad weather. While we're okay now, while it's mild. And he said, no. By the time he left, unfortunately, winter started to fall, the snow, a little bit earlier. So he should have left earlier. That was his only mistake in his campaigns. Great though he was, Napoleon, great tactician. Trump needs to release the Epstein. Do you reckon he will? What is happening is divert attention from the files. Lots of distractions. His name is on there, as you know. See, it's not only that, but there's pictures of him as well. If they ever come out, then the pictures will come out too. You're right, though, Myra. They are a distraction. They are a distraction. Frank, would you like to get guests on your show to interview? Or not? No, I do, don't I? When I have the football, I have that. Yeah, I've done it loads of times. I had, you wouldn't know him, I don't think, a fella named Billy Fiorio. Not Billy Fiorio, I'm sorry. Mike Pender. Billy Fiorio, 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 I've had my old mate, he died now, he died, 53 he was, Jake Abraham. I've had him on with me. Stan Boardman, Billy J. Kramer, but loads of. Someone said, who's Billy J. Kramer? Hot. Gives your age away. Russia has an astonishing armaments industry, very clever scientists. Did you know that they've been? Did you know that they've actually they've been sanctioned from the Bolshevik days, 1924, by the Americans and us. Sanctioned. Think about it. Right up, and yet, look what they did. You're so right, Polo, about great scientists and engineers. I think it was 57 they sent up the first satellite to go around the Earth, Sputnik. What else did they do? They sent the first man into space. They sent the very first lady, woman, female, into space, Valentina Tereshkova, besides Yuri Gagarin, that is. And that's with loads of sanctions on them. Incredible. So you're spot on there. And Steve says, I got my PhD for working in Greggs, putting holes in the donuts. It's my old mate, Steve. Put the holes in the donuts. And Johan says, don't you think Charlie Kirk's widow was acting suspicious? Yes. She said she forgives the shooter, yes, but is telling anyone who asks questions to stop. Bang on. Bang on. Candace Owens called her out, hasn't she? Candace Owens, brilliant. Calls everyone out here. It's just one of those things, though, you know, the way it is. You've got brave people like Candace Owens, even the likes of, yourselves, the likes of Lee Argent, the likes of Myra Page. They go on to their things. You know what I mean? And with proper bloody names as well. Yeah, look, there's Myra there. Later, everyone. Mooey Slap. Mooey. Is that right? Slap. Sleep well. South Afrikaans there. Yeah, I've learned a couple of words. Mooey Slap. Most probably I've sounded, pronounced it wrong. As a thing. Candace was on the Jimmy Dore show a few hours. Oh, go away. Was she talking about Kirk's wife? She's horrible there. She's horrible there. She was lad. She's with a fella, isn't she? Something dodgy about that. And the Polo says the elites in West want to get their hands on Russia's minerals, oil, gas, wheat, gold, diamonds, uranium. They've got everything. Russia has everything. Everything. Thank you, Myra, you beautiful person, you. Thank you. And you sleep well too, sweetheart. I know it's late there, isn't it? And as the once said, you know, she was, as well as the Jewish donors and Charlie stepping away from pro-Israel. Yes. I think she made it around 150. I think, you know, like the thing that she's still running. I think she was, doesn't she get like around 150 million or something stupid like that? Jimmy Dore had my comments out, you know, once. Because Steve Mulholland, my old mate, he went to see him. And he was only a few hundred yards away from where I live. I see. And I wanted to see him because he used to come up. I thought it was in the September that he was appearing. It wasn't. It was before then. And Steve Mulholland come on and said, I went to see Jimmy Dore, you know. And I thought, and I went on a show, but, you know, commented on a show. And I said, I only live a few hundred yards away. He said, it was very hard, you know, so I won't be doing it again, he said. But isn't he on tour now? Two fellas, they're good though, them fellas who take it. I don't like that Kurt though. I think he's a divvy, yeah. He gets on my nerves and just butts in while Jimmy's saying something. But those two fellas are good. But Kurt was getting on my bloody nerves. Was he butting in with I'll have a look at that. That'll come on, you know, YouTube. I'll get it up. But I don't like Kurt. Was he butting in? You know, with Candace when she was being interviewed. Steph's all right. Did you know he's married to Steph, by the way? Anyway, the Slavs, Russian Serbs, don't take no crap from outside agitators. No. No. Yeah, Kurt Metzger is a nut. He is. He is. And he used to just sit there. You notice when he says something, he goes, you notice that? But now he's wearing silly hats and wigs and things, isn't he? Sunglasses. So. Oh, good. I'll get that up later then. Well, listen, all you lovely people. I'll just finish, you know. It's a big thank you to Myra and to Lee Argent. That's lovely, really lovely. And I think Lee and Myra will ask DW sometime to come on. But if anyone ever wants to come on, I'll get you the link. I'll get you the link. Come on. No problem. And Polo says, thanks, Frank. Thanks, Polo, for joining us. Thank you. It's been great. It really has. Yes. The Thank you, Frank and Legends. Any film recommendations for tomorrow? You've got YouTube, haven't you? And these are free, these. Have a look, Johan, at Mary, with Gary Oldman. It's about a yacht. Or The Reef. RAAF, The Reef. Have a look at The Reef first. Oh, sure. I seen a news report about the cosmonauts returning from the IS. Where's that? The IS? But they couldn't mention what country they were from. ISS. Cosmonauts returning from the ISS. I'd like to know what is that? Because I'm always interested in things like that. Oh, do you mean the Mir space station? Oh yeah, yeah. I'm glad I got that out before that came up. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad they're seeing the news report about the cosmic return from, but they couldn't mention what country they were from. Well, the Americans, the Russians are still allowing the Americans to go up there. The Americans haven't got the technology to do it. Excuse me. And if the Americans were that brilliant, what else would they do? It's all right putting James T. Kirk on, James Tiberius Kirk and Star Trek. You see them walking around the bridge, Are you all right there, Spocky lad? Just walking ordinary. It's the gravity, isn't it? They haven't sorted that out. But they reckon the Russians have. And they won't put us on the Mir because they'd have to, build a ship. They can't do it while they're up there. But they've sorted out. That's what I read, and I read that, I think, about 18 months ago. How about that then? Good, eh? Went so blurry again. Why is the BBC gone so neoliberal, war-loving, Russia-hating? What happened to the impartial news? They've always been like that. Always been like that. We've been Russophobe ever since 1640s. And we asked the French, what people don't realise, they asked the French, I said, do you want to give us an answer? Try and see. That's Sevastopol. Where's that? Oh, it's in Crimea. Where's that? It's in Russia. Oh, okay then. Sevastopol, that was the gateway to the east. And the Black Sea, and look what's happening today. Look what's happening today. And Snapey, xenophobia, the societal tumour that blighted humankind since historical records have been documented. I'll say this on the subject of current events. It all hinges on whose propaganda is plausible. Wow. Yeah. But is it plausible, or who can tell the lies the best? Who can spin it the best? Grazie Franco, says the lovely Toscana and chatters. I had my friends over, so was just reading the comments. Breaking news, Paris has cancelled Christmas and the New Year celebrations out of fear of terrorist attacks. That's shocking. I think it's shocking, Toscana. But I think that could be true, actually, because of these idiots with fucking cars driving into crowds who's doing out Christmas shopping or whatever. Just ordinary people. I enjoyed RT News. You can still get RT News on. I watch it on YouTube. Steve says Tubi TV app is now free on Virgin Media, and watch the documentary called Epstein Didn't Kill Himself. Yeah, that's another great thing there, Stephen. That's a cracker there. I don't mean that documentary, but I knew as soon. Come on, they must think people are thick. What is it? 2 minutes of non CCTV. 2 minutes. Do you know what? I think he's alive and living in Israel. Mossad's agent. I've always said that. And Polo says it was blackmail ops by Mossad. It was a blackmail ops by. As I said, I don't think he's dead. I really don't. And Johan says, Jimmy also mentioned the Mossad are planning a false flag in Europe to distract us from the genocide and build up an anti-Muslim hate. They're doing it now. They're doing it now, Johan. They're doing it now. I'm going to send you an email. It might be tonight because my arm's killing me. You know, I've got this. Show you what I've got, but I can't show you what I've got like. But you see, I've got this itis. Do you see that? And it goes right around, see up there. Can you see? And it's horrible. And it goes right up my arm. You know, because I'm using my hand. And I can't use my left hand because that's useless. So I'll send you an email when it eases by tomorrow. But I can't say it on here. Can't say it on here, unfortunately. I'll send you an email. And I know what you're going to say. You can even get emails. And the Ali Denouche, what happened, Frank? It all stems from an operation I had. And this is what I'm waiting for as well. You know, the neurosurgeon. And I missed out a couple of weeks ago. And I'm waiting now for another appointment. And it's affected all my body. The nerve, you know, there are two nerves. And it's just agony that I go through. And it, you know, this, you know, like I can't really, like type out. Now just doing that, showing you my arm, that's killing me. It's paining now. It's I forget what it's called, what the doctor calls some bloody medical term. And it goes from my index finger and my thumb right up, my arm right up, right to my neck. And that's my right arm. And I've always complained with my left elbow. So as it connects that as well. So the pain is excruciating, unfortunately, for me. And that's why I'm waiting for the neurosurgeon. And Apollo says, did you hear you can't get into the USA unless you show social media and what you've said about certain groups? Very Stasi tactics. Yeah, this is why they want an ID, digital ID, which is going to be absolutely shocking. Everywhere's got Stasi tactics. So sorry about your condition, Frank, says Johan. Hope you get your medical care soon. That's what I'm waiting for, Johan, honestly. Honestly, mate, it's one of those things. Do you know what? You must have heard me saying don't take things for granted. Because through life, I did. I just took things for granted. What I mean is, don't get me wrong about that. Taking things for granted, like as just like running across the road, making me bed. I can't even make me bed after that. Wait for Francine to do it. It's things like that. It's mad. It's like lifting a heavy kettle, to make yourself a cup of tea. Kills me. So, it's different things that gets, and it's all because of my neck. When I broke my neck. That's mad. Toscana, can anyone recommend a VPN for the footy? You're bound to get told off one of them. Like Johan. If you want to ask anything, just ask Johan. Safe Shark is decent. The Johan's a whopper. He said, all whoppers. Love you all. Thank you, says Toscana to Johan. Yeah, you sorted. Well, it's been, it's been eventful tonight, hasn't it? It's been eventful. And my sleep patterns hit me as well. I was awake yesterday morning, believe it or not, watching a film. No, I wasn't. I was awake 5 o'clock. I couldn't sleep, so I just have to sit up. Sat up in bed and watched the film till 7 o'clock. And I've been awake from 7 o'clock the previous morning. So that was 24 hours. It was over early. I've been awake. And my sleep pattern hit me. So I went to sleep, and our Francine was coming down the other day, and she woke me up at 9:45. Said, "Are you awake, Dad?" No, she never said, "Are you awake?" She said, "I'll be down in an hour, Dad." And I went, "Oh, okay." Got a shower, livened me up. Sat there waiting for it. And she didn't come down till 1:15 to take me for a little bit of shopping. And Johan says, "I fractured my hand here while hiking, and my first thought was, how do I type comments during Frank's live show now?" Did you? I know that you said that you had a bit of an accident. I didn't realise that it was a fracture. But are you taking the Michael? So I've got this film, and watch the reef, Johan. Watch the reef. You will enjoy it. The reef. REEF. The reef. Australia. Good idea, Mrs. G. Just watch that. If you haven't seen it. I'll be on in the morning with some few recommendations, and they're good, actually. Some great films out you need to watch. And some bad ones as well. I'll tell you what I watched. Oh, that just lifted me right arm. The 2010 one. It's good. I haven't seen that 22 though. I haven't seen it. It's good. It really is. And I'll give you another one to watch as well tomorrow. It's really good, honestly. Watch it first. Yeah, and excuse me, I've lost my sleep pattern and things, you know. And it's shocking. And you're trying to think of things, and see, if I had notes and things, I'd just write a few things down, you know, for the show. But I can't. I don't know where to put them. Not looking down all the time. But I think one of the finest quotes that you can ever think of and try to remember is by Leo Tolstoy. And he's so spot on. What we've been talking about and things. History would be a wonderful thing if it was true. History would be a wonderful thing if it was true, because that is of the propaganda. Propaganda. Yeah, the 2001. Well, Johan. And Steve Mulholland says, Dick Van Dyke is 100 years old tomorrow. Dick Van Dyke. Fucking hell. Do you see that? How old is he? 103, I think. Burke Douglas. Never liked him, that Burke Douglas. And I know you're going to say it's Kirk, but I just call him Burke. Never liked him. Horrible man. Horrible. Apparently, it's on Amazon Prime here on Mars. I'll watch it. See, but I'm gonna send when my arm's better, Johan. But you might have to wait a bit longer, honestly. To send an email to Elon to get you down here. You've been up there long enough. Get the old SpaceX out here. Johan, you're surrounded by aliens there. And we're aliens here, so we're surrounded on here on the chat. Oh. And on that mad note, where Ali said and laughs about it, I'm going to finish. Thanks, people. Really, thank you. And thanks, Johan, for telling the wonderful Toscana, about the VPN. And Steve Holland about that thing, that documentary. About Dick Van Dyke being 100 tomorrow. Fancy being a fucking 100. He must have all his faculties as well. I forget things and the fucking state of me. You know what I mean? Can't walk. I'm going to make a cup of tea anyway. Sit down. Watch the telly. I'm going to get up that Jimmy Zaw show, actually. Get that up. With a bit of luck. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You don't realise how much I appreciate it. Honestly. Thanks for tonight. Thank you. See some of you tomorrow, I hope. Recommendation of films and TV series that you've never watched. There's only Johan who's watched it. The Outsider. Yeah, look. Take care, Frank. Good night. Good night, Johan. Thank you. I'll lead the news. A tourist went to one African tribe. The chief came at him with 2 skulls in his hand. The tourist asked him, "How do you live here?" He said, "We live more." Should have said Borneo. You're mad, you are. You mad little joke. Good night, Franco. Good night, Sally. I didn't know Australians spoke with a Brummie accent. Do you mean like g'day there, Mrs. Jessup? Like that, you mean? G'day there. Does that sound Brummie to you? Like Stan Collymore. I don't want to live up here. I want to live down in the Midlands. That's where my mum lives. That's where I'm from. Do you mean like that? Fucking like Slot, isn't it? He lives in Dubai. But enough about him. And on that wonderful IBR, I made up you watched Phillips today, mate. Made up. He's great. Love him, you know. I'm going to have him on here. I'm going to have him on IBI. So when you're on, when you see him again, tell him Frank's having you on. You say you had a little chat. Is that all right? With his Brummy accent. Good night, people. Love you as well, and hope to see some of you tomorrow with some film recommendations and TV. He's never fucking watched. Only you. Good night, people. Good night.